Forests have been discovered on Saturn, silver-bordered cards are becoming legal, and Ravnica is now located in outer space. This can only mean one thing: Unfinity is upon us. That's right, people, the new unset Unfinity is here April 1st, 2022, and this time we're getting black bordered cards. So the unsets have been silver bordered sets. They go back all the way back to 1998 with Unglued. In 2004 we had Unhinged, in 2017 Unstable, in 2020 Unsanctioned. These sets have always been well known for their full art basic lands, and they are not disappointing when it comes to Unfinity. We have the full cycle of Spacek lands. Yes, I know, awful, terrible dad joke. Spacek, I get it, they're basic lands in space. And then we have another cycle of orbital Spacek lands. These Spacek orbital lands are really out there, and I like these quite a bit. They're fun, they're different, a nice way to pimp out your deck. These things are really cool. But you know what's even more cool than space? All of you 100 plus new members of the Wolfpack that have joined over the last 10 days, I cannot believe the amount of growth I've seen lately. Thank you so much to each and every one of you, and if you're new here and haven't yet joined the Wolfpack, just hit subscribe. In the past, the unsets have all been silver bordered cards that are not tournament legal, can't be played in any sanctioned format, but that's all changing with this new set. They're now saying these are black bordered cards that are legal in Commander, Legacy, and Vintage, and I think that's a really good move. I think that makes a lot of sense. From a business perspective, I mean, these were fun, everyone liked them, the idea was cool, but the practicality of going out and spending money to buy these cards or to draft it and then never be able to use these cards ever again, you know, it wasn't really a big part of the market was interested in that. That's a really small niche part of the market that's willing to actually go out there, spend their money on these cards, and then just have them only for collectability, and they're fun and zany, but you can never use them or play them again. They just go into a box, go and get shoved into the bed, and you never see them ever again. So I think this makes a lot of sense to say, hey, now you can use these cards in Commander. This is basically like a Commander Legends 2 type of product. We're going to give draft boosters, and it is made to be drafted. There are also collector boosters that are being sold, but not all of these cards are actually legal in Commander. Yeah, confusing. So in order to know what cards are legal, you first have to know what set they come from. Is it a silver border set or not? And then after knowing the set, you now have to know the ban list. And then in addition to that, you have to know the legal stamp. Kind of a weird thing to do to determine whether a card is legal or not, but that's the decision they decided to go with. Kind of a confusing move. I don't think I'm on board with it, but it is what it is, and at least this is for Commander. You know, this isn't something where like a kid buys what they think is a standard legal set, and then they go to their F&M and they play cards that they can't actually play with, and then, you know, it's like, hey dude, those are illegal. Now we've actually seen that with things like the Mystical Archives and Strixhaven and things like that, but we'll put that aside for now. We'll pretend that doesn't exist. This really is confusing for people to really know if these cards are legal or not. So just to clarify, cards like Saw in Half and the Space Family Goblinson are legal, but then cards like Killer Cosplay and Assembled Ensemble are not legal, and the only way to know that is not based just on the set symbol, but all the way at the bottom there, that legal stamp in the shape of the acorn. On top of that, we're now seeing some unset reprints that are now black bordered and legal, meaning the first version printings are silver bordered, but now legal in Eternal formats. Confusing enough? The last big announcement that we have so far is that the Shocklands are being reprinted, and they're being done in these big full art, full space moon versions, and these things are really sweet, but man, is the timing of this really weird. The Shocklands were originally introduced to us in Ravnica City of Guilds in 2005, then we had to return to Ravnica 7 years later in 2012, then 6 years later we had Guilds of Ravnica in 2018, and then we got the Secret Lair reprint in April of 2021, and now a year later in April of 2022, we're getting these again. Reprints do keep the game accessible, and I think out of all cards to reprint, lands do make the most sense because they are so crucial and critical to the game. You know, you can have 10 sweet, good, powerful lands of fetches and shocks, and you can make a ton of different decks with that. You know, you don't have to reprint every creature and every spell. That's fine. Those don't need reprints because there are replacements, there are similar type of creatures. There are reasons why you don't have to do that, or you can just get creative and not include the creatures that you're missing and just make a totally different deck. But you can't do any of this. You can't cast any spells without lands, so it does make sense if you're going to have reprints, you know, and keep prices low and the game accessible for lands. But the timing of this is still a little too soon in my opinion, considering we're just off the back of the Secret Lairs, which really are just barely arriving. Like, people are just now getting those, you know, maybe had them for the last month or two, and then boom, all of a sudden another reprint is announced of new, even flashier, fancier versions. Now they're outer space, full arts, and so you just got your lands, and they've already gone down in value, like that feels bad. That really doesn't do well for consumer confidence. And I know prices are going to ebb and flow and move up and down, and that's fine. That's part of just having a secondary market. But this just really just crushes any type of consumer confidence to feel like you're going to actually maintain value in your collection, and that's really important for the long-term stability of the game. Of course, these lands are really unique and cool and unlike anything we've ever seen with them being in outer space, so I do like that at least there's something really different, but the timing of this, 3 reprints in 3.5 years, that's just too much. We gotta pump the brakes a little bit on the reprint train. That's all the information we have for now on Unfinity. We're gonna get more information in coming months, but I wanna know what you think about reprinting the Shock lands so soon after them coming out in Secret Lair and Guilds of Ravnica just before that. Let me know in the comments below, share this with a friend, we'll see you next time.